Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, we are out in nature again, and essentially I'm hiking over to my crayfish traps, but this video is not about crayfishing. This video is about how I use trail cameras or wildlife cameras, whatever you want to call them. So as you know, I'm a free-time wildlife photographer. Free time stands for it produces more builds than it is paying, because I'm not paid for it at all. But for my hobby, wildlife photography, it is essential to use trail cameras. In metal hunting, you would call it prospecting. And yeah, pretty much I'm using the trail cameras to find out at what times I can expect what kind of wildlife to be out and about in the fields, in the forest. So that's what I mainly use them for, and often they help me to identify the species of a stray or species that I found trails of but no footprints, for instance. So that's something that you can use wildlife or trail cameras for quite easily. And today I placed two wildlife cameras in the field here, and I wanted to see if I get to see some hawks or foxes or other animal on them, because I found quite interesting trail, but there were no footprints available. I know that it is used by hawks for sure by the signs in the field, but we will get to that in a moment, so stay tuned and follow me along. Okay, it is a bit windy. I hope that the wind noise is not too annoying. Anyhow, if you find traces like this in a field, that is a pretty good indicator for hawks being active, digging up the ground, trying to find food. And if we walk on a bit over to here, you can already try to see if you can spot the trail camera, and leave a comment if you think you spotted it. It's quite obvious. And if we walk over here and you look into the vegetation here, you can see the hole and a clear trail going through here with an indentation. So that's quite obvious that they are coming through here, and hence I placed the trail camera down here. Usually you mount them on branches and stuff, but that does not always work if there are no branches around. So I just used my knife to prepare a stick made from a branch that had come down from a tree, and the view of the camera would be roughly like so if I'm placing the cell phone on the camera. So essentially it should see the animal coming out from the bushes or vegetation over there and go over to the area, and then have a pretty wide view around the area. This trail camera is a bit exposed, and as you can see, it has no fancy antennas, nothing. So this is a very basic trail camera. No fancy model with 5G, LTE, 4G, Wi-Fi whatsoever. Just a plain trail camera. And if you plan to expose them, then I would always suggest to use the cheaper models, as the more expensive models are likely to get stolen, and also with the antennas, they have a bigger footprint, so you can't always disguise them as well as you want. So that's the first camera that I placed there in order to overview what is coming out of the trail here, and then walking over into that direction. But I also got a second camera which I installed in a tree essentially, and that one is hanging up there, a bit better disguised due to the color differences. And let's see, this camera is roughly looking over that area, so I get to see from two locations what is going on in the field. And now it is time to check out what footage they recorded overnight. Then I decide if I pick them up or if I'm leaving them out here for a second night, and after that I will have to check my traps and so forth. So this will still continue a bit, but for now I'm gonna just check quick if there's something on the cameras or not, and then I will give you some more suggestions on how to use trail cameras. Okay, both trail cameras have not recorded anything out of interest for now. I had a bit of an issue with precipitation overnight. On the one camera the lens was covered with rain, but that's something to take into account when doing this overnight and weather conditions are unstable. Anyhow, what I want to show you right now is how likely the menus work on such simple trail cameras. So basically you always have a way to open them up. These are little metal brackets that I have to put over here, and then you can fold it up. This will show you one of the disadvantages of the cheaper models, as when you go into the menu for adjusting the camera, which I will show you in a moment. This is just to turn it off properly. So now it's turned off, and we're going to turn it on again and do as if we were setting up the camera in order to film the field or overview the field. And yeah, a free advertisement for the company that produced this. And if you now look at the camera, you see that the LCD is active and gives you a preview of what you are looking at, but as you still have to fold in the lid, it is not the same way as you would expect it to be when it's overviewing the area. So that can produce an issue, and for the more expensive cameras that use Wi-Fi, for instance, you usually do have an app where you can connect to the camera. We will get to that when I'm on my property again, and there you get a preview when the camera is closed, so you can adjust it much easier than doing it like so and not knowing what you do. Of course, it has those blinking light indicators that show you if a motion has been recorded or not, but if you look at the three sensors on here, which are PIR motion detectors, they overlook a pretty good area. So yeah, they would record motion if a motion occurs, like now you see the blue light coming on if I move. If I don't move, it's just the red light blinking, for instance. So that's showing you, yes, the motion detection is present, but you don't get a real good overview on the areas that you want to shoot. So what you could do is, as I did in the video, you could point your cell phone on top, take a picture, but you have to consider that sometimes cell phone cameras have a wide opening angle, and the trail camera may have less of an opening angle, so it might not get all the field. So what I suppose you can do is take test shots on a straight pole. You take a shot of what the trail camera is seeing by walking into the infrared sensors, for instance, and then taking the same shot by putting your cell phone on top, so that you get a bit of a reference if you're a starter in this. The perspective of this one is pretty good. I'm happy with the setup. However, it has not recorded anything interesting. We will get into how the menu works right now, and I'm using this camera as it is a bit more comfortable as the one that is on ground here, because like so I can just be standing. So we are already in the setup menu. On the top right, it tells me how much recording time it has. It indicates that it has a memory card inside, and it is indicating that it does full HD recording, whatever that is. So then if we wanted to go through the videos, we could press the replay button, pretty intuitive to call it replay, and then we can use the buttons here to toggle through the video. And here you see myself, or as I was explaining you with the camera in hand, about the setup here. So that goes on. Here we do have some red exposure. I guess that something covered the light sensor because it switched to black and night mode. Here we do have a bit of an overexposure by sun. but I'm not sure if we do get to see wildlife at all. If I hit OK, it starts playing the video, and you control the time of recording videos and the number of pictures taken by the menu button or whatever it is called on your model of trail camera. So essentially I don't see anything on there, so I'm just gonna keep going through there, and that's already myself in the evening. You can see the stick in my hand that I was using to set up the other trail camera. So we know that there's nothing interesting on there. And before I go back into recording mode, I will show you the menu. It doesn't let me get into that right away, so we turn it on off for a moment, then we turn it back on into setup mode, and then we do have this menu. I could trigger a shot manually by using shot, and if I go onto menu, then I get into all kinds of settings that I could adjust, like the mode. In this case it's video only. You could set it to video and picture, but then you have to take into consideration that the picture is taken first. So if you tell the camera to take a sequence of 5 pictures, it does take 5 pictures, and after that it will start recording. If you do have some fast animal passing through, like a hare for instance, then you might get some picture of a hare which have motion blur but no video. So for the case that I want to check out what is going on, I usually set them to video only, and if I wanted to take pictures out of the video, then I could do a frame extraction in the editing software anyhow. Photo size 12 megapixels. I'm pretty sure that's interpolated on this cheap model, but okay. Video size full HD, that's 1080p. Picture number 1 picture, and video length 30 seconds. So it takes 1 picture and then takes 30 seconds of video, which is fine for this location. And as I set it to video only in the mode and not video and picture, I could change that in here. Camera and video would be taking a picture and video, but right now it's only set to video, so it's only taking videos. I'm happy with that. I get out of that menu, and then I can just turn it back into the recording mode by flicking the switch one position more over there. We see it's blinking red, so that's the time that it takes to set up. I close this, and now it's apparently about to take more nice videos of myself taking a video, which makes a video and the video and the video. But however, that's the very simple way to use a trail camera, and I use the less expensive ones in the field, which gives me a bit ease of mind. But I do have more expensive models at home, which I can show you, that have Wi-Fi, and what the difference essentially is when using Wi-Fi based cameras. But for the field and for just checking out what is moving around, like I did with badges for instance, I will link the video in the description. These models are pretty okay, and they help me to plan my trips when I want to take pictures or do video with bigger camera. Then I can use all that to get active. So yeah, I will come back to you when I'm back home and show you the other models. Okay everybody, well, I'm back at my home, and this perspective should be almost familiar to you, as I am sitting next to my live stream camera, and now I'm going to show you the differences to more sophisticated trail cameras that use Wi-Fi, for instance, to transmit data and let you get access to the data without even touching the camera. So essentially here we got one of those cameras. They are pretty much looking the same like the less expensive one. Only difference on this one is that it has a solar panel. Like this, I don't have to swap batteries ever so often, and on my property they were running without a battery swap for about 6 months now. You can open them up just like the normal cameras, and you do get access to a menu as well, which works pretty much the same as for your less expensive trail cameras. But what is more interesting is the fact that you can use apps on your smart device, a smartphone, tablet, or whatsoever in order to access the data. So that's something that I'm going to show you now, and in the background you already see something else. Because if you wanted to do live streaming from an area such like this one, you do not forcefully want to use a trail camera for that. They are used for momentous videos, but not for live streaming, and usually you don't even get access in terms of getting access to a live stream from the trail camera. And if you were running Wi-Fi and battery at all the same time, the batteries would deplete quite fast, even though there is a solar panel. So if you wanted to do live streaming, you could use standard IP cameras just like this one, and use them for the live streaming, as I'm doing it for the live stream here for YouTube. We go past the tree and you can see that this is just a standard IP camera sitting there looking towards the area that you usually can see on the live stream. And this one does not have Wi-Fi. It is powered through power over Ethernet, so I did not have to install an additional power cable, and I placed a bit of shielding on it so that when it's raining it does not get too many water drops onto the lens, even though it is waterproof itself. So such a camera can be used for the live streaming purpose, or if you wanted to watch live on your home network. Usually they come with two connectors. One is for the LAN, and you can do PoE over it, so it gets power over Ethernet, which essentially means that you do not have to use this socket in order to feed in the current needed for powering up the camera. So that's a convenient way to get a live stream running, and as you can tell by my live stream, which has been running for a while already, it works quite well. Only thing that may happen is that those connectors weather away. You can see it on that one. This one has gotten a bit of an issue one day in severe rainfall and weathered away, so that's not the end of the day. So I'm just gonna cut it off and will install some connector on it, or a new socket on it. I don't know yet, or I just connect the wire directly to the Ethernet cable. That should work as well. So that's for the live streaming. But now back to accessing the Wi-Fi enabled trail cameras. So if you wanted to access such a trail camera, you would get the app up. I just opened the one for my trail camera, and mine work in a way that you need to activate Bluetooth first in order to scan for trail cameras. It's saying now that they are scanning for trail cameras. You can already see the first one popped up, which is the one we're sitting next to. And if I hit on here, then it brings up the dialog that it is connecting to the camera. Now it is connected to the camera. After that I need to activate Wi-Fi on the camera, which it is doing now. And we essentially can look at the camera. You see the red light is coming up, so Wi-Fi is active on the camera. Looking back at the app, it is asking us to connect to the Wi-Fi, which we can do through the Wi-Fi settings, and now we need to wait for it to show up. To speed that up a bit, I'm just gonna turn off Wi-Fi quick and back on, and here we got the trail camera Wi-Fi. Now it's connected, so I can go back to the app. It has noticed that we are connected, and now you can see one of the big advantages when using such an app-driven camera, and I was telling you about this before. You don't have an issue with orientating the camera because you get a live view essentially of what the camera is seeing. To show you that I'm not lying about that, we can walk over here, and now you can see me on the screen while filming this video. So that's how you can adjust the camera to point where you want it to point. And essentially, if I wanted to get into the images on the tray camera, I would hit this small button, and now it starts loading up everything that the camera has loaded, and from there I can download it conveniently. It even works from inside, and I can even pull up the videos. I see one of the doe here. I'm gonna pull that up, and here you can see the doe and her fawn. That's how I can check on a video directly from the tray camera. It is quite convenient and quite fun to use it that way, but as I said, those are on the upper level of the price tag and about 3 to 5 times more expensive than the cheap ones that I use in the field. So you do want to make sure that they do not get stolen easily. You can use locks on all of them, so that works as well, but I would not trust that too much. They are quite easy to breach, and believe me, I'm an expert in that as well. So they would get stolen, and even if there's some tracker or so on it, you would not be able to get it back easily. So we can still see we are connected, red lamp is on, and now I'm gonna disconnect from the camera back to the live stream. Hello. We use this vent, hello, over there. And now we exit the app, confirm, and the red light should be turning off in a moment. It's blinking right now, but we disconnected and now it's off. So that's the process for the more modern tray cameras. If you wanted to get footage from them, you don't have to take out any memory card or whatsoever. You can transmit the data wirelessly, which is quite convenient. So essentially, I was telling you I would not be trying 4G enabled camera. However, events have changed a bit, and here we do have one that I obtained recently, and you can already see some red notes on the top of it. We're gonna test this as well, and it's already pre-charged. SIM card is inside, memory card is inside. So I'm essentially hanging it up over here, and the reason why I'm doing so is that I saw a wolf going through this area, so I attached the solar panel already, and my plan was to get it a bit higher up into that tree, roughly where the wire of the solar panel is running over the branch. But however, the security assessment told me that's not an option, because I was testing this branch, how far it would hold weight, and it is very dry. The entire tree seems to be very dry. As you can see on the cambrium down here, there's already issues here and as well down here. So the tree is not in a good condition for supporting weight, additional weight especially. And when I was testing this branch, basically this entire branch came down, which was dry already and has been cut before. So climbing up here is no option. I had that in mind. I even brought some cord with me, which you can see here, to build a small ladder using butterfly knots, and then essentially attach it on here safely and then step up a bit in order to get a higher operating height, but that did not work out as I wanted. So considering the camera, it is a PTZ camera, so you can turn it around to where you want. It has 355 degrees freedom of turning in one axis and 90 degrees in the other one. It has camouflage optics, and as you can see, I already removed all kinds of stickers that could be used to reactivate this camera. So if somebody took away this camera, it would be useless. So you would not be able to activate it in the app, as the identifier code is missing on the camera, and therefore I hope that the note that I left on top of the camera is essentially enough to tell them not to steal it. So basically, first line says stealing this camera is pointless. Camera is not able to be reactivated. Please let this camera hang in place. And I even registered a small email address for the camera, so it is blurred out in this case, but if somebody would like to ask me about it or tell me I found your camera, it was not in the tree anymore, which is rather not usual, then they could contact me under this email address, and essentially the strap is attached to the camera by screws, so whoever comes up to this camera to take it away would cause me to get a push notification on my smartphone. And this camera has two-way audio, so I could even speak to them if I wanted to. So I'm gonna hang it up and then show you the result of how I attached it. So here we are. Camera is hanging up there, the solar panel is over there, and the camera is hanging over there. Actually, it's not very visible, which I like. So it could have been hanging a bit more evenly, but yeah, maybe I return one day with a ladder and even hang it up higher, but that's best I can get now, and I'm gonna see if it works. So yeah, essentially this trail camera is working. What I'm disappointed about is the poor quality of mobile service out here in Germany. Getting a stable data connection out here in the countryside is more luck than functionality, and it's really disappointing that Germany is performing less than some developing countries where you get good coverage mostly everywhere. And yeah, so enough ranting about that, but I just don't get the fact that I don't get a good mobile signal out here. The masts are located at 2 kilometers from here, so I do have one in the back of me, which is about 2 kilometers away, and one is to the direction where the camera is looking at, also 2 kilometers away, so not far away at all. And essentially you control this camera through an app, and all commands are sent through the cellular network, and the connection is so poor that I don't get a live stream from it, but I can still apparently access the data from the cloud service, so I can download videos that it has recorded and use them, but that's far from the functionality this camera would be offering, and therefore I'm disappointed by the German cellular service. We have the camera looking over there, which is the location where the trail is coming out and where most likely the wild hogs are active, but I also spotted a wolf here, and I will see if network should improve sometime soon or not. I will also walk around here and evaluate if there's locations with better video. I mean, I do have enough trees around here where I could hang it into but the option is this is an interesting spot and the spots over there aren't that interesting. So I will follow up and make a video of the app functionality and edit that in as well. So thank you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed already. That's very helpful for me if you do so. And if you have any questions or would like to say something about the video, don't hesitate to leave a comment. Thank you.